We've got breaking news to get to on the cabinet front. It seems that Matt Gaetz is going to be out of the running. Here he is just a short time ago before the news broke.
Congressman Gaetz, what's your reaction to ethics not releasing the report?
How have your meetings been today, sir?
Can we ask what your message is?
They've been going great. Senator's been giving me a lot of good advice. I'm looking forward to a hearing. Folks have been very supportive. They've been saying we're going to get a fair process. So it's a great day of momentum for the Trump-Vance administration.
Any reaction to the Ethics Committee? They said they're not going to release the report after their meeting today, at least at this point. Any response?
I'll be honest with you. I've been focused on what we got to do to reform the Department of Justice. I've been meeting with senators. I haven't been paying much attention to that.
Have you briefed President Trump at all?
I haven't talked to the president today, but had a great time with the vice president-elect talking about how we're going to end weaponization at the Department of Justice. We're going to tackle fentanyl. We're going to ensure that we don't have the DOJ involved in censorship anymore, and make sure that we get the country back on track and are there for President Trump's total fulfillment of his promises on an immigration agenda.
Are you confident you can get confirmed by the Senate? Do you feel like
it was a great day?
Okay, so you wonder what he knew at that point in time. Here's the headline coming to us from the Wall Street Journal. Matt Gaetz withdraws from consideration as Attorney General. Former Florida lawmaker has been facing sexual misconduct allegations, and Republicans were ready to reject his nomination. Very interesting, because we just got a real big public endorsement out of Lindsey Graham last night. So it kind of seemed like the train had left the station and that everybody was on board. Here's Senator Ron Johnson, who also was a proponent of Matt Gaetz getting the job, reacting to the news just a short time ago, and seems to be okay with it, praising Matt Gaetz for bowing out. Watch.
But you had been supportive of this nomination. So what is your reaction? Are you disappointed that he dropped out?
Well, what I've said is I'm generally supportive of President Trump being able to select and staff his administration. Yeah. So I'll give all the nominees benefit of the doubt. And we have a confirmation process. This process obviously was truncated early. Mm-hmm. Can't disagree with the decision Matt Gaetz made. He was controversial. He understood that. I actually appreciate the fact that he withdrew so that President Trump can put somebody else in place, maybe less controversial. But let's face it, this is going to be a pitched battle. I've been a target of the corruption within the FBI, so I know exactly why President Trump wants to have somebody who's incredibly loyal, who's going to be aggressive, who's not going to wilt under pressure. This isn't going to be an easy job. So, right. Matt Gaetz obviously is going to be a strong advocate, and I understand why President Trump wanted somebody like him. He's going to have to find somebody like him to do that.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing. I think that Matt was seen as somebody who was very much a pit bull, for lack of a better word. And Donald Trump wants a pit bull. But there are others that hopefully don't have the same kind of baggage that the left can attack in that way. And so some of those names will start coming forward here, again, as Matt Gaetz bows out. One of the things that I would ask the question for right now is whether or not he will go back to the Hill. This is something that actually Politico has as the lead on the website as we speak. The question is, could he go back to the House in January? Don't forget, he resigned, right? He left that position. He resigned from both his current term and preemptively from his term in the next Congress, which he had just won. So I don't know what that means entirely. Let me just share with you what he wrote to Mike Johnson about the resignation. Quote, "I do not intend to take the oath of office for the same office in the 119th Congress." Now, apparently he can't come back to Congress. That's what's being discussed. But if he wants to come back to Capitol Hill in January, there are other seats that are open. And this is where it starts to get interesting, because there are rumors floating around that maybe he could go back as senator. Don't forget, the Senate seat is open there. Lara Trump was eyeing it in the state of Florida, but maybe Matt Gaetz goes in and takes over for Rubio, who is becoming Secretary of State. It could be something that DeSantis might consider. So Matt Gaetz may be still having a big political future there. We'll see how this all shakes out. Another one in question right now, that would be, of course, and this is the potentially the nail in the coffin, right? Matt Gaetz, because there was a second allegation that comes out. But another person that is very much subject to a lot of media fire right now would be one Pete Hegseth, who I used to work with actually at Fox and I've always thought was just a terrific guy, but some really uncomfortable things emerging about an alleged allegation, an alleged sexual assault allegation. This is coming forward, something that allegedly transpired in California. The whole police report is out. It's some 22 pages. This is not very pretty stuff. And it's sort of a he said, she said environment. Apparently the charges were dropped. This was never something that came up. And Fox News has admitted as such. They weren't even aware of this. It was settled privately. Now it's all coming to a head. As you can imagine, they're looking for any dirt they can find on these guys. And they don't want Pete over at Department of Defense, because despite his Princeton undergrad and the public policy masters from Harvard, he isn't one of them, so to speak. Despite his record and bronze medals in the Army, again, he's not one of them, and he hasn't come from a defense company or run big sections of the government. So there's a lot of animosity there towards Pete Hegseth. So it's going to be a rough road. I mean, I'm not going to kid you. Linda McMahon also, her husband had faced some pretty tough allegations. We won't get into that over at WWE, but Linda McMahon has already worked in the administration for the SBA. She is very committed to.
You're simply a conniving.
Anyway, she's now going to be, one would think, confirmed as the Department of Education Secretary. She's got some interesting ideas. She's talking about, say, maybe letting the Pell Grants, instead of having them used exclusively for university study, maybe allowing them to be used for vocational study. In other words, let's focus on vocational work. We need the plumbers, for goodness sakes. We need plumbers. We need electricians. And I've known some super wealthy plumbers and electricians in my life. Let me just say, okay? Like, those are things that you need. HVAC, all that good stuff. So we can't discount that just because everybody wants to go get a degree in gender studies from some ridiculous college in some ridiculous place. I'm sorry, not to poo-poo it too much, but we've lost our way. We have totally lost our way when we're sitting around and debating what gender we want to be today. We've lost our way. I'll tell you, I have not lost my way, not on this show. It's great to have you here as we get to more news, and we got lots of it right now. There's talk, believe it or not, of maybe Kamala Harris pulling off some kind of coup. I got to get to that because Nate Silver is out with a very, very interesting tweet. But first, a word from one of our great sponsors over at Balance in Nature, 1-800-246-8751, 1-800-246-8751. I take Balance in Nature every day, my fruits and veggies. Just use code word Trish. Code word Trish over at balanceofnature.com. We're going into a really busy season. You want to make sure you have your energy levels up. You want to make sure that you stay healthy. Put yourself first. It's what I always say, both in terms of your health and in terms of your finance. Health and wealth, as they like to say, right? You got to take care of numero uno, because certainly nobody else is going to. Balanceofnature.com, one of the great sponsors of the Trish Regan Show. Take a look there. Fruits and veggies is what I take, but they have tons of stuff. You can get 50% off right now with code word Trish. 50% off. It's the best deal I've seen. Code word Trish, and also free shipping.